first Super Bowl. It's not a Super Bowl prediction if you pick a team, so you don't have to say they're not my pick. No, you're going to say, I knew it. You're like, look, they're not my pick, but.
I mean, look, I'm just going to say Josh Allen because he's just better than Jared Goff. And I get it. The last 2 Super Bowl winning quarterbacks haven't been like all-time greats, Jalen Hurts, Sam Darnold. You're
not even going to fight him on Jalen Hurts anymore. Wow.
All-time great?
Yeah, I mean, he could become that. You
put him on a bunch of graphics next to the greatest players of all time, all the time.
He could become Terry Bradshaw, like I've been saying. But
I didn't mean to interrupt.
And I think both teams obviously are very good, have a chance. I think Detroit's pass a little, with all due respect. The AFC is not going to be easy by any stretch. But the NFC North, tougher division for them. That's not even to mention the NFC West and the East. So I think their path's a little tougher in Detroit. And I just think, like I said, Josh Allen is much better. They are obviously one of the best teams in the AFC, so they got a good shot. So I'm going to say Josh.
Yeah, and the Bills are in, if not the softest, one of the softest divisions in football.
Wow.
I mean, no, just
Frisky Jets.
Just by Miami's going to be the worst team in the league. I think they want to be.
Third worst.
I think the Jets are going to be bad. And so even if the Patriots are good, that's still a bad division. If half the teams are bottom 5 teams, and if the Patriots are just mediocre, then that's just a flat bad division outside of Buffalo. And so I think that helps a lot. You guys know where I feel about Detroit. I think that train left the station.
So they're out of their window, Super Bowl window, as far as you.
I think so. I think that they are going to continue to miss Ben Johnson. I think that they still are going to continue to struggle to have a reliable pass rush outside of Aiden Hutchinson. And I think that Goff, for the first time in his Lions career, is going to line up under center and be like, ooh, my offensive line has a few question marks on it in a way that it didn't early in my tenure here, plus that division. So I would be stunned if the Lions won the Super Bowl this year.
All right. Personally, I don't want to get too consumed with who ends up taking the Super Bowl. That's just me. I'd rather focus on the Detroit Lions. Because I feel like we're having a bit of a situation here. Nick has been going on about how the Lions Super Bowl window is shut. But the Detroit Lions are an incredibly well-run organization now. Maybe in years past they weren't, but they are today, and they make very smart moves. Have they fallen short the last few seasons? Obviously. Right? Winning a championship is difficult. But they've demonstrated their ability to make excellent decisions and acquire top talent. So this whole notion that they won't be able to keep evolving, develop a pass rush, replace an aging offensive line, based on what evidence? What is that actually based on? And Jared Goff is a terrific quarterback. Jared Goff is a really, really, really terrific quarterback. And I do think they made a smart change at offensive play caller. Yeah, is it Ben Johnson? Probably not. But I still believe they're positioned to have plenty of success, and they have a lot of guys who can get the job done. So the questioning or the doubting of the Detroit Lions makes zero sense to me. Absolutely zero sense. Before I go any further, Lions fans, please don't forget to subscribe and watch the full video. When you do that, views go through the roof, subscribers go through the roof, and it's not about chasing numbers, it's about creating Lions content that people genuinely want to watch and discuss, so we can keep having the most grounded, unbiased conversations in the sports world. Like, we are truly redefining how sports talk happens. It's been so amazing, and I'm trying really hard to make sure this becomes rooted in the sports discussion landscape. So please don't forget to subscribe. It genuinely goes an incredibly long way. But the whole idea, it just doesn't make sense to me. Also, Jared Goff with that offensive line, Jared Goff is an elite passer. Again, I'm not going to sit here and say Jared Goff is an elite quarterback, right? I'm not saying he isn't that either. I need to think about it a bit longer. But he is an elite passer. And I think what's been shown to be true over time is that when you have the weapons and you're an elite passer, you can work around your offensive line in a certain way, and you need a great play caller. In a way that we just automatically assume only mobile quarterbacks are suited for. And yet, when the pass rush gets to Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes, Lamar Jackson, things get a little weird. It gets a little strange. And then we have Joe Burrow absolutely thriving. Absolutely thriving. We saw Tom Brady absolutely thrive. So it's interesting that when you have the right pieces around you, even if the offensive line isn't as great as you wanted, if you have the pieces to work with, the right quarterback, and the right play caller, because the play caller has to give you options, HT? He has to set you up to succeed, especially if you're facing a lot of blitzing, a lot of pressure. The coordinator is the one who provides solutions to those problems. And I see no strong reason why that will become some massive problem. I mean, Jared Goff is the definition of a timing and rhythm quarterback. Just getting that ball out, right? That's who he is at his core. So any fluctuations with the offensive line and such aren't necessarily the biggest concerns. In 2025, Jared Goff got rid of the ball in 2.57 seconds. That was the third fastest in the NFL. And he was still pressured a ton, 224 times. That's going to be near the top of the league. That's top 7 in the NFL, 224 pressures. But when Jared Goff was under pressure in 2025, he threw for 1,200 yards, second in the NFL. 2 touchdowns, 3 interceptions. Now, everyone's numbers are always a bit wonky under pressure, you know? Josh Allen, 6 touchdowns, 7 interceptions, 1,000 yards. Everyone's completion percentage just plummets, their passer rating drops, their touchdown to interception ratio gets wild. Things get weird. It shows you the importance of protection no matter who you are. But at least Jared Goff isn't Patrick Mahomes under pressure, because Mahomes had a 41.9% completion rate under pressure. That ranked 20th. It was actually below Jackson Dart. And we all know Jackson Dart and the New York Giants were loaded with talent, right? Same with Justin Herbert, he was at 47.2%. And we all know he had endless support there, right? Same with Geno Smith at 49.6%. I'm just randomly going through the numbers. Then you had Jared Goff in the top 10, 9th, at 50.8%. So we can stop pretending like Jared Goff is this guy where if he gets pressure, it's over. I mean, if you want to say that, then you have to say it about Patrick Mahomes, you have to say it about Jordan Love. You have to say it about a lot of these quarterbacks. And Matthew Stafford had 8 touchdowns, 0 interceptions in 2025 when blitzed. His completion percentage was, that's why I say when you're pressured, the stats are always a little crazy. But he threw 8 touchdowns and 0 interceptions, so you'd think, that's great. Stafford is awesome under pressure. But then in 2024 under pressure, he had 2 touchdowns, 6 interceptions, and a 46.1% completion rate. Yet no one runs around saying, just get pressure on Stafford and it's over. And yet that is objectively terrible. That is absolutely, positively terrible. 2 touchdowns, 6 picks, 46.1%, and a passer rating of 55.9, passer rating of 50.8, even lower. 50.8, he had Cooper Kupp and Puka Nacua, to be very clear. And when Jared Goff is formally blitzed, so that was just general pressure, whether from a blitz or not, but when he's formally blitzed, which obviously changes things offensively and what the defense is doing, I mean, he's topping the NFL. 13 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. 1,600 yards. Again, third in the NFL, 64.3% completion, 13 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. Passer rating of 105.2, which is 4th best. So we're always trying to find the dominoes falling for Jared Goff and the Lions. And it's just not going to happen. Or can they ebb and flow? I've talked about this before, can the Lions reclaim that sense of dominance? Because to me, the Lions were perfectly representative of one of the scariest teams you could ever face, right? And they've lost that a little bit, like lots of teams do. The Chiefs have lost it, the Eagles have, it ebbs and flows. You don't have it year after year after year. That's just not how it works. But if they just become a more balanced team, and if their defense can just not get decimated by injuries and just be consistent, not have the floor fall out from under them, this team will consistently be competitive and incredibly difficult to beat. I mean, I went back and watched the film of the Washington Commanders versus the Lions in that divisional round, and I made a whole video about it. Jared Goff did not have a great game. I probably actually downplayed how poorly he played when that first unfolded. It was clearly not one of his best games. But first of all, he still had some spectacular plays and some spectacular throws, and that offense was still absolutely torching the Commanders' defense. They were still in a position to win if you just take away one of Jared Goff's bad throws. And actually, especially, if you take away Ben Johnson's absolutely horrific trick play, I forget who ended up throwing the ball, but whoever threw that interception, it wasn't Jared Goff. And that was huge. Even Tom Brady was like, I don't know why Ben Johnson just did that. Even Tom Brady was like, dude, what are you doing right now? So we forget the potential and just how special that offense can be. And I've said this many times now about the Lions. To me, their next evolution is moving past the hyper-aggression and the automatic going for it on fourth down constantly, and just finding a little more balance. I'm not saying don't go for it on fourth down, but find more balance. And first and foremost, and this is what I've said a million times now, the Lions have found themselves in a situation where if they convert on fourth down, they win, if they don't, they lose. Fourth down conversions have to be the icing on the cake. They can't be the entire cake. That's what I want to see this offense evolve into. But to think the Lions still won't be incredibly competitive, in a lot of ways, I trust the Detroit Lions franchise more than I trust the Buffalo Bills franchise. In recent years, the Lions have clearly built a better team than what the Bills have done for years and years. And they've found better coaching. They've made more aggressive moves. They've taken bigger swings. From a franchise perspective, I trust the Lions more than the Bills. I absolutely trust Josh Allen more than Jared Goff. Right? So let's just get that out of the way. That is the case. But I do largely see Super Bowls as franchise accomplishments. I'm not even going to say team accomplishments, it's franchise accomplishments. Individual players obviously have a huge role, and I've made all the videos highlighting that, either saying Jalen Hurts deserves more credit, or Mahomes is getting too much credit, or Matthew Stafford, etc. It's always a moving target, always flowing, always depending on the situation. But at the core, you need to either get really lucky that you magically built an awesome team, or you need to be an incredibly well-run franchise. Don't get me wrong, there are probably teams out there that sometimes just hit on a draft and that sets them up, but they're not actually that great or well-run. They were just fortunate, oh wow, we hired this 37-year-old who ended up being a great coordinator, or wow, we really nailed this draft and everything just landed for us. I'm sure that happens. But to be consistently great, to be consistently competitive, you obviously need to be a well-run franchise. And I think the Lions over these years have proved that so far. Again, are they perfect? Are they this undeniable, inevitable, dominant team year after year? No. But I'm not really sure what team exists like that right now. Honestly. The Los Angeles Rams are an incredibly well-run team. They won in 2021, which is great. Congrats. And then they haven't been back to the Super Bowl. People question the Eagles, and it's like they've gone to 2 Super Bowls in 3 years and won one, right? And now the Rams are going all in, making all their hyper-aggressive moves. We'll see if they win the Super Bowl. If not, it's like, yeah. It's hard. It's hard. So that's why I feel like having a conversation like, who's more likely to win their first Super Bowl, the Bills or the Lions? Again, I'm all for some of these conversations, and they can be fun, but I think there's a more interesting conversation when we separate this and say, wait a second. Why do you think things are closing or ending for the Lions? Like, I don't quite understand that. But those are just my thoughts. I'd absolutely love to hear yours. What do you all think about the Lions and Jared Goff, and who do you think is more likely to win the Super Bowl if you want to answer that? Or how do you feel about the Super Bowl window being closed for the Lions? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. I read every single comment. So whether you agree with me or disagree, either way, let's get into some discussions. Let's get into some debates. But ultimately, let's just have some fun. And please do consider subscribing. We're building an amazing community here, and I absolutely love to see you part of it. I want to build something we all genuinely feel connected to, something we're really excited to be part of. I think we're well on our way. Please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up. It really helps with visibility and the algorithm. Thank you so much. See you next time.